Hi everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
I wonder if they caught that.
Well, I might edit it out. But tonight is Trace Trees. It's our first of multiple episodes where we cover 3 different kinds of trees. So tonight, magical listeners, we are going to discuss how you can enjoy the Rowan, the Willow, and the Ash tree. Or how you can use them in your practice, or how you can celebrate them because, like, Earth's fucking awesome and you love that bitch.
Did you write down how to, like, recognize them?
Okay, so, like, I looked at pictures, and let us be fucking clear, y'all. I apparently do not know what an ash looked like before.
Dude, I feel like I have not.
I did not realize ashes looked like they do. I didn't realize Rowans looked like they do.
I don't know why.
The weeping willow is the only willow I was aware of as far as appearance goes, and that's not true because, like, the tree of Gondor, I believe, is based off of a kind of willow tree, because most willows are not like the weeping willow. Or that's not true, not most willows. There's a fuck ton of these kinds of trees, y'all.
You know what?
The dwarf willow, that bitch gets this big.
Oh my god, are you serious?
It's mostly like ground cover, but it's a willow. It's called the dwarf willow.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
no,
but it's not like a little
willow.
tree.
Oh.
It's not like a little tree. No, it's a little plant. Look up dwarf willow and see what the picture on Wikipedia gives you.
You know what? Shit. Speaking of willows.
So y'all like trees?
Speaking of willows, I think my favorite willow is gotta be the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter, of course. I actually love that pun. I can't lie. Because, like, I think the tree was introduced in the second one, and he's like, you almost, like, harmed a Whomping Willow that has been alive so many years before you were born. It's fucking hilarious, because that tree really whomps people. Like, it really wants them.
Okay, so, like, part of that comes from actual folklore, I believe.
Oh, really?
Because, like, okay, so there's some folklore about the willow that it will follow travelers and harass them.
Oh my god, I love that.
Okay, so one of the Ents was a willow, and he actually was lulling the hobbits to sleep so that he could whoop their asses and eat them, maybe. I'm not sure. But, like, he never succeeds, right? Something else happens to them. But, like, actually, there's a Rowan that is an Ent in The Lord of the Rings as well. But, like, the Whomping Willow, I bet it comes from the folklore of a willow. Like, they believed willow trees would follow travelers in the woods and, like, whoop their asses and shit.
They're pan.
They are just like, whip yo bitch ass.
They whomp people for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the willow is connected with the goddess Hecate as well, I had read.
Okay, and that's one of them. Yeah, actually, I feel like another one was connected to Hecate, because I wrote her down, but was it for the willow? Because with the willow, there's a willow grove that's sacred to Persephone,
which makes sense as to
Orpheus got his powers, like his power of being like the greatest musician from. Yeah, that's your grounded buddy.
It smells nice.
Yeah, I
just got a whiff. Yeah,
I did too. Like, I was like, oh no, you
that's
notebook.
what it is. It's because I was like, is that the orange one?
Yeah,
no, it's the notebook.
It's the notebook. Because I was like, I don't think there's any orange in here, but that's what I smelled was orange.
Well,
we were testing out oil scents earlier.
The cool thing about willow is it's also a medicinal tree.
It is medicinal. We get aspirin from it.
Oh, I didn't fucking know that.
Salicylic acid. It's got a lot of
that's
salicylic acid.
Because I read salicylic acid.
Something like it's got a lot of salicylic acid in it, and I believe that aspirin is derived from salicylic acid. I'm not positive. I'm not positive about that second thing. I am positive about the first thing, where willow has a lot of salicylic acid. That makes sense. Which is why it's good for the medicines that it's good for.
Well, and that makes sense because I had read that sometimes people would chew on either the twigs
or the bark for headaches
or something, because it had almost a pain killing effect.
Yep.
And which is also why it was used for cold and flus, because it would make you feel better. Like, kind of get rid of that painkiller, or that, the
salicylic acid in it also was good for like getting rid of like warts and skin ablations. Like, because the same ways that we use salicylic acid for skin stuff today, people used to use like stuff from the willow topically in the past, because like willow trees, okay, so every tree we chose today, we didn't realize, I don't think, because like not just one of us chose all of these trees. We are both contributors of the tree. I definitely picked Rowan, you definitely picked willow, and I think I picked ash and you had picked oak, but we pushed oak out until closer to Yule.
Which I'm really excited for that episode.
And we made it trace trees. So it's like a whole series. We're going to be doing every couple weeks or so. We'll do 3 more trees for you. But these are all liminal trees, and they all grow in very watery areas. Now, the willow being the wettest of these 3, it grows like at riverbanks, or like the willow is associated with like rebirth and regeneration and the other world, because like a broken branch can root into the ground and grow a whole new tree.
Well, and you had I did not know that.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, I didn't either until this research.
Grows near water,
and now you guys know too.
It grows near water.
Yes,
so
all
like,
of these do.
Well, that's if you're lost and you can recognize a willow tree. There may be water nearby,
right? Because they grow in moist environments. Spring.
You know what I mean? Maybe its roots are...
Well, and they plant willows at the edges of like rivers and stuff to hold the banks up, because the willow tree's roots are fucking amazing, and they'll hold the bank together while like siphoning up as much water out of the waterway as they can. And if it gets washed away and it lands like 20 feet downstream, it just reroots and grows there.
Oh, wow. That's fucking awesome.
I know, isn't it cool?
That is
and okay,
awesome.
so the willow tree is associated with, you said Hecate, Persephone. It's also associated with Orpheus, who goes to the underworld. It's associated with the Celtic death goddesses Morgan Le Fay, the Morrigan, and the Cailleach that we already covered in a previous
love
episode.
The Cailleach.
Love that bitch.
Woman.
Big booty bitch.
Right, 50-foot woman.
Love
Check
her.
out that episode.
Yes.
I say that about a lot of the goddesses, though. I realize.
But the Cailleach, she shaped the world with her big ass and titties. She's to be
beautiful.
Celebrated. Yes.
Like, have you seen that mountain of like? It's literally a mountain that looks like a woman sleeping. Cailleach, 100%. So I actually got a lot of research done on Rowan, believe it or not. It was the one I got the most research out of. So
okay, well, and the Rowan is like associated with witches like so much.
Oh yeah, well it is thought.
We're gonna go back and forth between these trees, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Well, Rowan is thought to have saved the life of Thor. He basically like fell down a river or something, and then
he reached up and he grabbed the Rowan tree and pulled himself out of the river. Yes, I didn't know about that till this research. But like the Rowan is bigger in Norse mythology than just Thor, because the first woman is said to have come from a rowan tree.
Said that,
and the first man is said to come from an ash tree, which we didn't know when we picked both of them for this episode. We're just good like that.
Well, and Amber and I were talking as well. Like, so the thing with the rowan tree is like, it's so magical.
It is.
That the ancients were like, hey, you can't make anything out of the rowan tree unless it's specifically for ritual use.
Except for the berries, which are super cool because they have like a pentacle behind them.
And to me, I would like link that with the apple. The apple has the natural pentacle.
It does. And that red fruit is apparently seen as red was the most protective color to the ancient people.
Which is crazy, because have you seen that scary movie, The Village, where nobody can
I
wear
know,
red?
and what's funny is I was thinking that's crazy because like inherently we see red fruit and we're like, oh, poison.
Right.
So like for them to be like the berry of the rowan, I'm pretty sure you can eat the berry.
Don't eat the berry.
Look it up first.
Disclaimer.
I read 3 different trees in less than 48 hours and I'm reporting them to you. So I may have a wee bit confused, and you should never put anything in your mouth that you haven't researched first. And you can take that in every which way you choose.
Gathering is scary.
Yeah.
Gathering, scavenging.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, and mushrooms delicious when you get the right one.
Right.
Poisonous
when you don't. You can eat all mushrooms once. Some mushrooms you can eat twice.
I don't trust myself to get.
No, that's a Terry Pratchett quote, and it's saying like some fungi are poisonous. So like all fungi you can eat once. Some of them you can eat twice, because some of them when you eat it once it kills you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the Terry Pratchett joke, and it's one of my favorite things to share of his quotes. But the Rowan tree is so magical. Like, okay, so
the bark was also used to by druids. Like
yes.
The whole tree was used.
Yes, they made an incense from the rowan wood to conjure spirits. And so like that's something else that I noticed with all three of these trees. There's some form of like conjuring or talking to the dead with all three of them. They're all liminal, used for the other world and growing at liminal places where the earth and the water meet. Which I find super interesting. And the Rowan tree, like Maddie said, there's so much to find out about it, because like the Rowan tree and the word rune have the same root, pun fully intended, and runes used to originally only be made out of rowan wood. Is that correct? Yeah, and the Scottish Highland people will only use rowan wood for ritualistic purposes. You can't use the rowan for anything else except for the berries. Those are okay to do things with in their practice. And in England, it's said to be the tree that the devil hanged his mother from, which I thought was quite interesting of a thing to read.
That's hilarious. The devil has a mother.
I know. That's what I thought.
That. So, sorry, I did have to Google this, and we're going back to the willow tree for a moment. So I did look it up. It is associated with Hecate, but what is this? Helus? Meaning willow.
Zeus's nurse
was also associated with water, which makes sense because the willow tree
grows in wet places. And like the Druids, the willow tree is a part of the Druid creation myth. They said 2 eggs hatched within the willow tree. One was basically the world, and the other was mankind.
Oh wow!
And it's the ash tree. It was the ash tree. Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil?
No, the tree of life.
Yes,
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I wrote down
an evergreen ash
the
tree. The
world tree.
Yeah, an ash is in the olive and lilac family, whereas the rowan is in the rose family. And the willow seems to be in a family all of its own. So I find...
Right, the willow has a bunch of cousins. Weeping willow, whomping willow, regular willow.
Oh my gosh. And like I said, most willows are not like the weeping willow where they're like, there's like all sorts of different ones. And a lot of them, like
some of them have twisting their branches twist almost.
There's a twisted willow.
And I love the weeping willow and the twisted willows. I want a twisted willow wand so bad. Yeah. It looks like the one from Willow. Really does though.
I have a dead twisted willow in my living room. Yeah.
They look like the wands from Willow. The movie.
I love that movie. The white willow is predominantly what is practiced in European magic. So like a lot of the connotations that we read things about, it's specifically to the white willow tree, which kind of like it has a singular or a dual trunk and goes like upright, which I was unaware of until this research, because I always picture the weeping willow because my parents got married under a weeping willow tree.
I love weeping
and we had a weeping willow in my front yard when I was a little kid.
They're gorgeous.
I love them.
Well, they're gorgeous.
Like Corey and I got married under something that looked like a weeping willow. I hate it when
people trim them.
Oh, why?
Why? I don't understand. Let that bitch...
Yeah, in my like favorite book series, like there's a tree it's obviously modeled after a weeping willow because it's got all these branches that like do this number and like the whole challenge. The leaves are like razor blades, and the challenge is for fighters to get through the branches without getting cut.
Oh wow!
And they're constantly moving in the wind, and the whole thing it's in the Name of the Wind series, and so you gotta see the patterns in the wind so you can get through the branches without having to fight the tree.
Man, I want to sit under a weeping willow so bad. Oh, what was that? The book.
Violet Bides. Yeah, it's from the book. Yeah, it's from the book I'm referencing. So
I've been getting into reading a lot lately. Amber knows all about that.
Yeah. Ew. Wait. Bad thought. Well, no, because I was going to be like, but that stuff's not connected to this stuff, which made me think of this scene in Evil Dead 1 where a tree does a thing to a girl that you would never want a tree to do to you as a girl.
I'm sure there's some in there.
You know
on
what?
Kindle Unlimited.
It looks uncomfortable. It's not for her pleasure, okay? Like,
and
it's not
it
ribbed
called
for her
again?
pleasure. Evil Dead.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I love Evil Dead.
Bryson loves that movie so much. You want to know why I hate it? It seems to trigger a Muppet thing for me. I think it's because the effects are so horrible.
Oh, God, yeah, that creamed corn, man. That creamed corn.
I think that's the only... I don't mean to talk shit on the Evil Dead. My husband loves it wholeheartedly. It just scares me.
And I am talking Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead.
I'm the old one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the only one. It's like Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. And then Ash versus Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell. But speaking of
ash,
right? So witches' besoms were originally the stave was made of ash, so like the broom handle.
Yeah.
Then birch twigs are like the broom, and it's bound with a willow wand.
Oh my God!
That is the traditional way to make a
so
besom.
bad. And I just realized we haven't done an episode on the witches.
No, we have not done a besom yet. I can't wait.
Maybe that'll be closer towards Samhain.
That would be a good Samhain. That would be good.
I want to ride on a broom so bad. I really do. Is that lame?
So, let's see. Do all of them say they ward off evil? So, Rowan is said to ward off evil.
And enchantments.
Black magic, enchantments, witches. It was called the Wiccan tree and the witch wood. And because of that, it got associated with witches. It doesn't actually mean those things, but in Old English, the way that people heard it.
Yeah, and to be clear, like Wiccan tree, Wiccan and Wicca, that's a very old word. Not necessarily modern religion.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the Wiccan tree and the witchy tree, which is Wicce. Not at all related to Wicca, unless Wicca took their name from that, which I have no idea.
I'm sure they did.
Probably.
It's Druids, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where that came from. Sorry, guys, I have a couple books at home I've read.
Now, the willow tree has been used in spirituality since the Stone Age. There were willow-shaped funerary flints found in Stone Age graves. Wow. How fucking amazing.
I just think it's so crazy. Like, oh my gosh, you know what? You say that about willow and water. First of all, I love that. Willow and water. It goes so well together.
Absolutely.
What did it say? It wouldn't be a dowsing rod, do you think? Like, you know how people like used to take a tree branch and it'll point them towards water? I didn't read that at all.
I feel like ash or birch is what I've read that for. Now, granted, you can just look it up because I do not. I didn't read that at all during any of this research with any of these trees, like dowsing rods.
Right.
Now, the ash tree. Did I see? Okay, so the only one. Okay, so the ash tree is said to ward off snakes.
It is willow. It is willow. I thought so. You said willow and water. I was like, I bet they use those bitches for dowsing rods. Okay. Yes.
Is it white willow or which kind of willow does it say?
It says typically. It's witch hazel, which is a tree, apparently. Yeah. How the fuck did I not know that? Can't wait to do that. Well, and
somehow, like, Rowan is related to witch hazel.
Witch hazel, peach, and willow. Okay. Where did peach come from?
I don't know. Like, there's a peach willow or something like that. Yeah, there was a peach willow when I was looking through.
How the fuck does dowsing like that work? Like, you use a fork stick. It says it's supposed to show you water, like it's supposed to pick up vibrations. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just knew willow had to be.
So much like the willow is said to follow travelers, the rowan is called, sometimes called the wayfarer's tree or traveler's tree. It prevents those on a journey from getting lost, whereas the willow wants to drag you off the track and get you lost. I like the overlap in these trees. Well, it's really interesting to me.
I just wonder why the willow is seen so negative.
Right. Okay. So the ash So the willow reminds me very much of the leshy that we talked about in our forest protector.
And then he gets really small.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, so like he was basically kind of based on how you were, he was, right? Because like a willow grove that was sacred to Persephone gave Orpheus his fucking powers, and Orpheus took willow branches with him down into the underworld. And you use willow to divine and connect to the other world. And in Slavic culture, you use willow branches to spiritually cleanse your space.
So it all comes
for
with that
cleaning.
fear of death and that fear.
And it's that liminal. Again, all three of these trees are liminal. They each deal with the underworld in their own ways. And the willow tree actually protects you to the underworld. And so, like, here's the thing. Like, people are afraid of death, right? So if it's something that you take and it helps you cross between the boundaries. And that's also, I think, where Rowan got some of its bad witchy connotations. Because, like, Rowan, it was said that if you, like, peeked at a fairy procession with a rowan tree in front of you, like, you'd be protected from the fairies. But, like, the rowan would allow you to see them.
Oh, wow.
Right? But also Rowan was said to protect you from evil witchcraft. Right? But Rowan, essentially, you couldn't see to the other world without the Rowan involved. So the Rowan helped you cross over, just like the willow helped you cross over.
Well, and the Rowan was what was originally used to make ruins in Nordic and Greek.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, not Greek, and Nordic culture. Like the
because the root words of
are the same. Yeah. Well, and it's also the tree of witches, which is why you would have that divination.
Right.
Now, was it the ash tree that's green? Now, what?
Yeah, ash will burn when it's green, even.
Oh, yeah. And willow, it's either willow or ash. I think it's willow. It doesn't splinter even when it's dry.
Willow is better, yes. They use willow because it is better, but ash also does not splinter when it's dry. They use ash. Okay, so the first cars... carriage makers, the first car makers, and the first airplane makers used ash as the frame for the automobiles and planes. And to this day, there's some British sports car company that still uses ash wood for their sports car frame because it's so pliable even when dry.
So what is the tree?
So like two of them are like that.
What is the tree? Maybe I don't think it's either one of these. I thought it was for a minute. You get it. It's yellow. It sparks like a sumbitch.
I want to say that's wicker from willow. Because willow is used in wicker furniture.
Yeah. Willow is used in like all sorts of binding because the wood is so pliable. But I don't know if this is one of them or not. But you don't want to put it in a fireplace. It fucking sucks if you're putting it in a wood stove because it just immediately just. Oh,
it's hot and yellow.
Yes, hot and yellow.
And it's really dense.
Yes, fuck that shit.
I don't know what that is. I don't think it's one of these three.
Okay, I
don't think it's Rowan.
I think it starts with a yellow Y, but I was thinking there's no way it's willow.
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember. I know what you're talking about. I can picture it, but I can't picture the word.
Because it's dense.
It's very dense, so it burns really hot, so it's bad for your fireplace and stuff like that.
And also it just sparks.
And it smells wrong. Yeah, it sparks everywhere. I forgot about that.
Sparks like
I forgot about that.
Sumbitch. And that is not willow then, I don't think.
Yeah. And like, okay, so all of these trees have different medicinal things. Like the ash tree is used as a diuretic and antiseptic.
I had read that.
And in large doses, a purgative.
Which makes sense because, I mean, if it's a diuretic, you're releasing all that toxin. Right. So if you have enough, I'm sure you're going to purge that shit out.
But it doesn't have a lot of tannins, so it's actually here in North America, the ash tree is hugely important to the frog population because ashes, because they do grow near bodies of water, their leaves fall into the water and they decompose in the water, and it's great food for the tadpoles when they first hatch. So when the ash trees aren't around, or there's a new hybrid of the ash tree around that has more tannins, we actually have smaller and fewer frog populations.
Wow.
And by smaller, I do mean the frogs themselves are smaller and the populations are fewer. So like the ash is really important here in America. And it's also the Melii of Greek mythology. They were the nymphs that were associated with the ash tree.
Oh, I like that.
Which also, ash, something about Zeus, right? Oh, yeah, Zeus. Okay, so not only was the first man in Norse mythology made from the ash tree, Zeus made a third race of men.
Okay.
From the ash tree.
I feel like they got in trouble somehow.
They were like bad dudes. They were like the party hardy followed Aries, and they wound up like all dying out.
They were the Nephilim of the Greek mythology.
Yeah,
like,
I guess so.
Pretty much. That's how I would describe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I found it very interesting that like there's two different creation myths taking ash trees and making them into men.
And I just
very interesting.
I feel like it's because our ancient people could feel the masculine energy that comes along with, you know.
Well, I see that, and at the same time, I find that very interesting from the same point that, like, I don't get super masculine energy from an ash tree outside of what you necessarily read about it being masculine. Like, it's associated with the sun, but, like, the trees themselves are unisex, and they are able to go between, like, they might be a male gendered tree when they're younger, and they grow into being female or hermaphroditic as they get older, or vice versa. And it's more dependent on the tree themselves than the community, from what I understood from what I read. But most of the community itself is dominated by unisex trees. So it's like really super interesting the way that ash works. And I think that might be why it's associated with or related to both olive and lilacs. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm like the olive is the masculine side of the family and the lilac is the feminine. And I think that's a me thing, not a real thing.
No, I like that.
But that is how my brain associates it.
Oh my God, what was I going to say?
Oh, I was going to say it's not only the world tree in Norse mythology, it's the world tree in Celtic mythology as well. The ashes. Yeah. So like I was surprised to find all this stuff. Druids carried ash to help them draw upon their own personal power, which I guess maybe that does have to do with like the inherently masculine, because druids typically were masculine typically were male individuals. Yeah, Amber knows M words. It's fine. I don't know, like I found a lot of interesting stuff. The willow in the home, it wards off evil, but outside it gives you protection from evil.
I like that. I feel like that's a similar thing. You know what I mean?
Like I do feel like it's a similar thing, so I don't understand what the difference is. But
I do want.
There's so many overlaps with these trees. Is it just me?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I have to say I really want a fucking broom.
Right?
Like that, honestly, with the willow.
Yeah, the traditional ash, birch, and willow. I agree. Oh, yeah. Willow to honor Hecate. I knew I had written it down somewhere.
Yeah, it has
I told you I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, and like I do love how the willow is associated with so many liminal goddesses.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it doesn't surprise me. And the willow is the tree that is most associated with the moon because of not just being a feminine water tree, but also the fact of the way that the tree goes through phases and the way the moon goes through phases was something I read, and I thought that was really interesting. I've always been attracted to the willow. Like,
so if you felt a calling to either one of these trees, which one would it be you feel the most?
At the beginning of the research, I was most curious about Rowan, felt most drawn to Willow. At the end of the research, I am still the most drawn to Willow because I'm actually like even more intrigued by it.
You know, right? I think I'm most drawn to the Rowan, if I'm being honest with you. I love that. I love that name, first of all. I knew a woman named Rowan.
Me too. I wanted to name one of the kids. Roz was almost Rowan, but Corey cockblocked me.
Damn,
Corey cockblocks me on so many good names. Wally was going to be Persephone. I could have had a Rosalind, Jocelyn, and Goslin trio. Don't judge me, y'all. It would have been cute as fuck. And I'm the one that would have had to remember all three of those names when I was mad.
Yeah, my husband is very similar.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm still very interested in the Rowan, and it's like even more interesting to me. Like, I've always been drawn to the Rowan because of a woman named Rowan that I was like intrigued by. But the willow, like, I've always loved the willow. When I was a little kid, there was a willow tree in my front yard that I played under all the time. My parents got married under a willow tree. So I've just always been drawn to the willow, and the ash just interests me. And one thing that intimidated me was the fact that you look into ash or willow or rowan. Okay, you say ash or willow or rowan, like that means like 80 million fucking types of trees, guys. Like, did you like see how many? Like,
well, it's like the apple tree. Don't even.
Oh my god.
By the way, Amber, I have to say we got to use that essential oil like blend for the candle
every time.
I smell it every time, and it's sandalwood and clementine.
Yes,
smells
super
amazing.
Good. It'll go amazing.
By the way, guy. Oh, can I tell them?
Yeah.
Because this will be after we drop it, right?
Yeah, actually, it will be. And have we mentioned it before?
No.
Drop it anyway.
By the way, guys, Amber and I are doing something super exciting, and if you want to hang out with us. And if you kind of like us, you should totally check it out. We're going to be doing a Google Meets
exclusive ceremony.
Cacao ceremony.
Drums.
Yes, there's going to be drums. There's going to be music. There's going to be guided meditations. You guys have a chance to hang out with us, classiest witches.
And we'll guide you through. And like,
oh my God, we got to write the guided meditation, don't we? Or were we going to go with it? We haven't talked fully. Like, I totally...
Oh, yeah. We've got to write the ceremony still. Like, we'll take you through a ceremony, and it'll be wonderful afternoon. I assume it'll be afternoon.
Right.
Sounds like
We're
good
gonna have
afternoon-y
some
thing.
Cacao, which is very similar to a dark, hot chocolate. I don't know if we're going to, like... We're also going to have some pretty decent-sized candles. What would you call them?
Like, they're in between a tea light and a votive. Yes. They're, like, as big around as a votive, but, like, a little bit taller than a tea light. Not as tall as a votive. I was trying to find another name for them, but there was nothing.
We're going with sandalwood and clementine incense, or essential oils in that. We're going to, like, have that grounding, fresh into spring scent. And Amber's going to provide an oil.
Yes, it's going to be sandalwood and jasmine, which is my fucking favorite.
So as you can
and it's going to carry you away into the ethers with the fucking goddess. Yes. While we bring you back with the cacao as you sip and ground and just
listen to the sound of the drums.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be a really fun...
It'll be great. It'll be a wonderful Beltane blessed day. Like, I don't know. We haven't worked on, like, catchphrases
We'll have to come up with a catchphrase. Yeah, but, like, seriously, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be grounding, but it's also going to be, like... I don't know.
It's going to be refreshing.
Because...
Like, think of a shower, but your clothes on. You know what? Maybe I'm going to edit that out. Who knows?
But if you're interested in showering with us, you should buy a spot. Don't edit that out, Amber. Don't edit that out, Amber. Someone may buy it.
Bad dragon. Sorry, it was
Don't
right
edit that.
But if
we're gonna get a bad review, false advertisement. This is not what I thought it was.
She said golden showers. No, that's not what we meant, guys.
Showers
anyway,
in the golden light.
yeah, that was a catchphrase we already talked about.
But it's gonna be a great, and it's gonna be a really fun experience too. It's gonna be like where we're gonna be conversing and we're gonna be talking and we're gonna be discussing springtime and just all sorts of things.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. We've still got a lot of details to work out, but that's why we're releasing it in March and it's happening in May. You know, so like
more details.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
And it's something that it's exclusive. It's a little less exclusive than our last gathering, but it's even more interactive than our last gathering. So it's like you get physical product as well as exclusive maybe not one-on-one time with us, but like back and forth time with us. Like we hear your voice.
Right. Like we're going to be interacting. It's going to be interactive.
It's kinda cool.
Anyway, I think we decided on $35 a month. Yeah.
Not a
month. What the fuck? $35 in
a package deal.
Yeah, there'll be a package deal on Etsy, and the link should be
in the description. In our description with the where you can support the show as a patron on Patreon, and all of our socials. It's down in there at the same place. It'd be awesome.
It's going to be super grounding, like the trees, like the trust trees that we discussed.
Yes. And in a couple weeks or a month or, whenever we get back to it, we'll bring you Trace More Trees. Tell us what you thought of this episode if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know in the comments. Did you like the trace trees? Did you enjoy learning about the magical associations of them?
Yeah.
All right, well,
I think we've talked all about trees that we can. Maybe we'll talk about grass next episode. Guys, that was a joke. Please laugh.
I was just like, we'll talk about different trees. Amber is really blonde today, guys. So I guess we'll just say, thanks for
sitting with us for a spell.
Yep.